I'm going to say it again. Why on earth would Ben Johnson go to Chicago?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, here we go, everybody. Matt Derry with you. It is a Friday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today is Friday, December 27th, and it's Saturday, December 28th. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Shout outs to our everydayers that are out there. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year to all of the everydayers that watch and listen to the podcast daily. We are recording from parts unknown in the mountains. As you can see, the wood backdrop here for the next few days. So if the connection isn't great, if occasionally it skips or it pauses, bear with me. All right. We're giving you content. We're bringing you Locked On Lions. We're getting you ready for Monday Night Football. Coming up on Monday, Detroit at San Francisco. Vikings lose to the Packers Sunday. Lions beat the Niners Monday night. And we are celebrating a back-to-back NFC North title and championship and a first-round bye for the playoffs and the 1 seed. If the Vikings win Sunday at home against Green Bay, Lions still want to win this game against San Francisco because as Jeremy Reisman pointed out from Pride of Detroit, got to give Jer some props. If the Lions and Vikings somehow played in Week 18 and tied, the Lions would not have the tiebreaker. Minnesota would. So still something to play for. Dan Campbell has said it before, and he said it all week. They're playing to win this game. They want to go out to San Francisco, and they want to win it and win it badly. Locked On Lions for today brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. Follow us on all social media platforms. If you missed yesterday's show, Brian Peacock was with us from Locked On 49ers. We did the Thursday crossover. We have a special guest at the end of the program today. A guy I think is the biggest 49ers fan in Michigan and knows more about San Francisco and dishes out dirt on the Niners because he watches every game. We'll have that man on momentarily here on the program. We also want to dive into some injury news, some updates from Dan Campbell today on a Friday, some good news on the Terrion Arnold front. Lions have a new backup quarterback. We got to get into that. Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater is back. But I got to start with this. Many of you, I'm sure, as the holidays are here and you got some downtime, we all watched last night's debacle in Chicago as the Seattle Seahawks kept their hopes alive for a playoff spot, beating the Bears at Soldier Field there on Lakeshore Drive. 6-3 was the final score in the lowest scoring game of the season. And I'm watching that game, and I know what Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit were saying. I know what all the folks on the Four Letter Network are saying. I know what Cowherd is saying. I know what all these national people are saying. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. Oh, Ben Johnson's the hot name. Ben Johnson's interested in the Bears. Ben Johnson wants to interview in Chicago with the Bears. And my question is simple. Ben Johnson, of course, had to have glanced at last night's football contest on the Amazon and saw the absolute bleep show that the Bears are. The Bears are an embarrassment. Why on earth? And I get it. All right. For the Bears fans that are watching, they're going to go, oh, well, Ben Johnson's going to change the culture. Ben Johnson's not going to have Thomas Brown on his staff or Shane Waldron or this guy or that guy. They're horrible. And they've always been bad. Take away the Ditka mid-'80s Bears. All right. Papa Bear Hallis in the 30s and 40s. Lovie Smith had one really good year, took him to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. A miracle. But the Chicago Bears are so bad. They're so bad. You never hear from ownership. It's never been a good culture there. They've gone through and recycled head coaches. Dave Wanstadt, Mark Trestman, Matt Eberflus, who was Matt Nagy. They're a joke. And if I'm Ben Johnson, oh, well, he'll get Caleb Williams. Is Caleb Williams anything other than Justin Fields? I watched Caleb Williams again last night, botched the end of the game clock like he did, on Thanksgiving. And I sat there and went, wait a minute. The first time we all blamed Eberflus, right? Who we blaming last night as the Bears had the football, down 3, a chance to tie, send it to overtime. And Thomas Brown's taking timeouts when he shouldn't have on 4th down. 1 minute he's punting, the next minute he's going for it. Caleb's got his hands over his ears. He can't hear the play call. He's waving his arms. He's confused. And then at the end of the game, as the Bears, as the broadcast team of Al Michaels and Kirk, dog sitter Herb Street are on there going, Caleb Williams hasn't thrown an interception in 331 consecutive throws. And what does he do? He throws a pick. And after the game, he's like, yeah, this is going to be good for me, all this losing. What about last year at USC when you were losing and crying on the sidelines? I'm not buying it. Caleb Williams is fine. But right now, when you're the number 1 overall pick and you're 1-1, Jaden Daniels is better. Bo Nix is better. Heck, Michael Penix looks better after 1 game. And everyone's like, oh, well, Ben Johnson will go to Chicago and he'll resurrect it. And does Ben Johnson really want to come to the NFC North? Vikings are a train right now. Green Bay is damn good. And we know what the Lions are. They're the best darn team in football. You could make an argument for the Chiefs. You can make an argument for Buffalo because they beat the Lions. I'll take the Lions. Does Ben Johnson really want to go to Chicago where, I mean, their media is rough. They're going to be tough on him, and he's going to be expected right away to win. Ben Johnson looks really good in Detroit with Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell, doesn't he? That Bears offensive line is a dumpster fire. They need 5 new guys on that line. And who's going to be his general manager? Does Ben Johnson want to go to a place where Ryan Poles might be in trouble and that Kevin Warren, the stadium builder, Kevin Warren helped build the stadium in Detroit. Kevin Warren helped build the stadium in Minnesota. Kevin Warren's getting a new stadium for Chicago. Does that guy have any clue how to run a football team, though? I don't think so. Ask people around the league about Kevin Warren's knowledge of football. Oh, but he got the help with the Big Ten. He's great. When he was in the Big Ten, he helped with the expansion. Can Kevin Warren draft talent? Can he identify talent? Is he really going to fire Ryan Poles and run this thing himself? Because if I'm Ben, I'm staying far away. I'm taking the Bengals job if it opens, and I got Joe Burrow. Not that ownership's that great, but you know what I mean. At least he would take over a team that's done some winning over the last few years. Bengals were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I'd rather go to Jacksonville. You got Trevor Lawrence, no state taxes, beautiful weather, and no media hound you. They don't have any expectations down there. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I would take the Dallas job if that opens, but I don't even think that's opening. But you catch my point. Or Ben Johnson could do what we all want him to do, and that's stay in Detroit another year because we love him here. But Bears, after last night, I would not touch that job. That place is a clown show. To quote Brandon Tierney, it's an absolute sideshow circus. All right, that's an old DFN bit for those of you that are watching and listening. All right, coming up next, Teddy Bridgewater is back. Another win for the culture. Another win for the culture. I'll explain next. And as I mentioned before, Locked On Lions is brought to you by the Gametime app. If you're looking for tickets for Lions Vikings Week 18, you got to go to the Gametime app. Gametime is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live sporting events, the experience is that much better, and really it's the perfect gift. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the stuff or the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I said it before, I'll say it again. Everybody's going to want to be in the building next Sunday night. Hear what I said? I think it's going to be a night game for Lions and Vikings. Get your tickets on the Gametime app. The view from your seat is the best. I always am on Gametime, just checking out the seat view so I know exactly where I'm going to sit. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Matt Derry back with you. It's a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. Lions and 49ers coming up from San Francisco on Monday night. Live show on Locked On Sports Detroit on your YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast, the Detroit Lions Postcast with Jake Riepma. And Jake, who hosts the show, is going to be live from San Francisco. He's going to be at the game. So check out Jake following the game. We'll have a Monday night show that I'll do as well, just a Locked On Lions Monday edition, but probably a little bit after Jake's show will be live from Levi Stadium following the game on Monday night. Be sure to check that out on Locked On Detroit Sports. And tonight, Jake will be on following the Red Wings and Maple Leafs game. And yes, the Red Wings have made a change at head coach. Lalone is out. Todd McClellan, who's coached like 17 different teams, is in. Amazing how today, apparently, Steve Yzerman got snippy with the media. If Joe Dumars would have done that, they would have fired him right away. And Joe D got fired. Yzerman's leash, very long. Very long. But whatever. He's the captain. He's done a lousy job. The Red Wings are terrible. Firing the coach, let's see if that works. If not, is Steve next? Should be. Feel terrible for Red Wing fans because this product is garbage. It really is. It's bad. That's a great tradition, hockey town and all of that. And Wings fans deserve better than what they're getting right now. Those guys they look like they don't even try out there. All right, Lions have a new backup quarterback, and I am all for this. I know there were a lot of Hendon Hooker fans out there for a long time, but Teddy Bridgewater is back with the Lions, and just the comments from the coaches and the players already as Teddy Bridgewater, who will wear number 12, is already in Allen Park, speaks volumes to the kind of player that he is. And if you really think about it, Teddy retired last year, said he wanted to go down to his old high school in Florida, become a head coach, which he did, took that team to the state title and won it. How about that story? Never had coached before. And so then he got the itch again to come back and unretire. Immediately talked to the Lions and Brad Holmes, and it was a no-brainer for the Lions to bring him back and slide Hendon Hooker down to number 3. This is not an indictment on Hooker at all. This is the Detroit Lions feeling like, what if in week 17, in week 18, week 20, whatever it is, what if Jared Goff gets injured, knock on wood, I do have some wood here, and they're still going for it. They still want to win. Would you rather a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who's played in playoff games, is 32 years old with experience, or would you rather trot out there a very talented Hendon Hooker, but someone who really has not taken any meaningful regular season snaps in the NFL? When Hendon has come into games this season, it has been in garbage time. After the game was in question and in doubt, like Jacksonville and others. I love this move. I love it. And the fact that Jamison Williams comes out and says it's like a big brother coming back. The fact that Dan Campbell says everybody's welcoming him with open arms. He'll help our quarterback room. He will mentor Hendon Hooker. He has worked with Hendon Hooker already. So, they have a relationship. I love this. And it is an upgrade for this football team. And it speaks to, again, the culture and the fact that here's a guy that retired, said he was done. Teddy Bridgewater said, I'm done. I'm going down to my high school in Florida, and I'm ready to be a coach and hang him up at 32 years old. Well, you're around the game, you missed the game. And he didn't call other teams. There's other teams that could have used him. He wanted to come back to Detroit. He got a taste of what Lions football was like last year. Loved playing for Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and Mark Brunell. And now he's back. I can't remember a time late in the season, no matter how bad the Lions were, how good even they were under Wayne or anything else, that they were able to bring a player back like this. It does speak to what this franchise is about, how comfortable they are with certain players. They can welcome them right back in. There are other situations and other instances in other sports and in the NFL. You bring a veteran player in right now and disrupt a room, a quarterback room or running back room, wide receivers, whatever, it's bad news. Not the Lions. Lions are all about winning, and Teddy Bridgewater makes them a better team, makes them a winning team with his addition, and I'm all for it. I am much more comfortable right now with him out there in a big spot if something happens to Jared Goff than Hendon Hooker. I think Hooker is going to be good, but we all knew it was going to be developmental to begin with, coming back from the ACL, and Jared Goff's the guy. But it's a good option for the Lions, and it's a testament to the team that Teddy is back. So love that move. Absolutely love it. As far as the injury report goes on the injury front here on Friday, a couple of notes. Number one, Terrion Arnold has been sick the last couple of days, missed Thursday's practice with an illness, but was back on the practice field today. And it sounds like he will be available Monday night when the Lions take on the 49ers. Of course, with Carlton Davis already out, last thing the Lions need is any kind of attrition at cornerback. So Terrion Arnold coming back is a good sign. There is a chance that the Lions could get Jalen Reeves-Maybin back for Monday night's game against the 49ers. Of course, Reeves-Maybin has been out for the last, 5 or 6 weeks. The Lions have an open roster spot on their 53-man right now. So they could be welcoming back JRM, the linebacker, on Monday night. Khalif Raymond, who's been bothered by that hamstring injury and has missed the last handful of games. Dan Campbell is not as positive that Raymond will be back for Monday. But he's got his injury clock is at 19 days right now. Graham Glasgow had practice today. That's 2 or 3 practices this week that he's been back with that knee injury. He's expected to return Monday night as well against the Niners. So you love that. So good news on the injury front. Again, Arnold had been out last couple of days. He'll be okay. Graham Glasgow will be back at left guard, but great job by Christian Mahogany, of course, last Sunday in the win in Chicago to play as well as he did and get some burn. But Graham Glasgow was still that veteran guy, a little bit more reliable, and he will return Monday night as well against San Francisco. All right, a little special guest coming up next, a guy that knows more about the Niners than anybody in the Metro Detroit area. And we're going to throw a little bonus out there for my man, John. Check this out coming up next. Some dirt on the Niners. 6-win San Francisco 49ers who've had a really disappointing season. We will do that coming up next right here on Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network. And Locked On Lions for a Friday is brought to you by our friends at Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it more wisely to improve yourself? How about history, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution? If you studied these things in school and you don't remember a lot of them, here's a chance to refresh yourself with our friends at Hillsdale College. Our sponsor, Hillsdale, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including Constitution 101, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever, tune in wherever you are. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. All right, folks, as promised, special guest on the podcast today. It's a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. We're getting ready for the Lions and the 49ers in San Francisco, and who better to have on the program to really break it down and give us the real dirt than the man, the myth, the legend himself, the biggest San Francisco 49ers fan in the state of Michigan, the COO of the Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce, my man John Long, who's already donning his Niners shirt. John, good evening.
Matt, what's up, man?
How are you?
I'm doing really good. Through Christmas here, getting ready for the New Year's.
Well, I gave you a nice illustrious intro there We had our guy Brian Peacock from Locked On Niners. I know you watched that show yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Yeah, they're hurt." I know you are so upset at what's going on in San Francisco this year. So, how are you feeling heading into Monday night as you have to face the Lions?
Well, it's just one of those things where you have to accept that noise that y'all heard. That was the door and the window closing on the championship real quick. They had a long run, 6 years. They really probably had the best roster, arguably, and couldn't get it done, and it catches up to you. So I've already accepted it. I think there's some Niners fans that are still kind of hanging on, so to speak, but Detroit's going to beat the brakes off them on Monday.
Beat the brakes off of them. No, so you think no chance. You're not even thinking, all right, they're at home. Debo's healthy. Purdy, George Kittle show. You're like, this is trouble.
Yeah. Is there a chance? There's always a chance, right? And can they bottle up where they've been the past 6 years and the old Debo shows up and the Purdy from the last 2 years shows up? Anything's possible. It's why it's any given Sunday, and the worst team can play the best team in the league. But the Lions are a lot better than the Niners right now, and they just don't have a lot of fight left. Greenlaw had came back here recently, and the defense that was really struggling for most of the year was significantly better the minute he stepped on the field. He got injured, and immediately – they went right back to really giving up the crucial downs. The big story for San Francisco this year is the impact moments of the game. They can move the ball between the 20s. They can't punch it in. They get people down, get them on the ropes in the fourth quarter. They can't close it out. And I think the Lions probably want blood from playoffs last year.
John Long is with us, biggest Niners fan I know, giving us a little dirt here on San Francisco from Monday night. He's the COO of the Southeast Michigan Chamber, great chamber of commerce on the east side that I am a part of as well. All right, Brock Purdy, are you ready to give him the bag? Are you seeing these reports about a Dak Prescott type contract, or are you going, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to do that, which would mean there's a chance they'd have to franchise tag him after this year. What do you think?
Yeah, sorry, a little bit of feedback on my end. They're going to give him the bag. It's already pretty much done, but I'm not ready. I think it's a little bit of a pipe dream, but if I'm the Yorks, I'm probably going to tell Purdy, hey, listen, we'll pay you $40 million, a little bit above the Baker deal. You're broke living in San Francisco. He's actually the lowest paid player in the NFL because he was the last pick of the draft, and the more recent Mr. Irrelevants have a higher pay scale because of, they raise the wage every year, and the undrafted free agents always make more than the last player in the draft, but the last players in the draft don't stick around. So he's actually the lowest paid player in the NFL, and he could probably barely make it in San Francisco after taxes. So I'd throw him the $40 million to see what he says. And, he can't, if you're going to be paid the most of any player in the NFL, you got to raise everyone else's play around you. And he has not done that. I don't really want to hear about the injuries. Everyone's got injuries. This is pro football. It's a championship type team that they're aiming for. If you're going to be paid number one, you got to play like number one.
I know you get to see the Lions, obviously, living in Michigan, and all of your friends and family are all Lions fans. What scares you about this game? Where do you think the Lions take advantage of what San Francisco is doing?
All the Lions have to do is just run the ball. Just keep running it. Even if they get to the fourth quarter and somehow they're not already over 100, 150 yards for the day, keep running the ball, because all year long San Francisco's Achilles heel has been when it's down and out and we're getting to the fourth quarter, they just wear down. The defensive line cannot hold on. And they're lucky most games to get to the fourth quarter. So no matter what, if the Lions stick to the run, they're going to have their way with San Francisco. And then on the other side of the ball, it's really simple. The Niners passing game has never, ever, ever, ever worked with Shanahan in San Francisco unless he had the running game. As simple as that. Even with all the weapons, with the Kittles, with the Ayuks, with the Debos. When the running game wasn't working, the passing game was not good. So all they got to do is stop the run on their ball, and they'll get out of Santa Clara with another victory.
You think the Lions are going to the Super Bowl? If you're looking at the entire NFC, how do you gauge it right now in terms of where the Lions are?
Say it again.
Where are you gauging the Lions? You think they're going to the Super Bowl? You think they're this is the best team in the NFC in your mind?
I think it has to be, right? I mean, last year when we were going into that playoff game, remember you and I were talking, and I said, I'm really, really worried about it. And truthfully, they really should have beat San Francisco. They had a couple really bad bounces. I mean, literally off of, a helmet to Ayuk that changed the course of the game. It's terrible what's happened with the injuries, but that is part of the NFL too. And I think the big thing growing up, I mean, we had season tickets to the Lions my entire childhood. It's so clearly always been the culture. You know that. Every Lions fan knows that it's always been the culture. And you got to give it to Dan Campbell. If nothing else, with the onside kicks and going for a fourth down and all the other stuff, he has absolutely done, the unthinkable in Detroit. So I think they're going to make the Super Bowl. When it comes to winning, the Chiefs are so good, man. It's like we've lost them twice, right, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you can just tell with some of these teams across every sport, when they have that championship DNA, the chips are down, they know when to make a play. Mahomes is the GOAT, man. So that's going to be hard, but I think they got a chance. What do you think, Matt? I mean, what do you think is going to happen on Monday night here?
I think the Lions are going to win. I don't think there's any question about it. I think they are focused. They're out for blood. They want to avenge what happened last year. I love what Dan Campbell said early in the week about we don't care if Minnesota wins or loses Sunday. I like the Lions in this game. I don't think, the spread's kind of interesting. It's lower than I would have thought for this matchup. I know San Francisco will get up for this game, but no, I see the Lions winning like 24-17. I think they'll pull it down.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit wider of a margin of victory than that. I think, when you say the Niners are going to get up for the game, the Fred Warners are going to get up for the game. The Kittles are going to get up for the game, but I'm not so sure that everyone on that team is going to get up for the game. The biggest problem in San Francisco, them not pushing it over the finish line for the championship, not just the injuries, not just this year, has been a culture problem. They've walked around and pounded their chest like they've won that Super Bowl, and they haven't. And that's like the Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams effect. And I'm telling you, man, like I'm a big as Deebo fan as anyone. He's my favorite player on the team. Still a fan of his. But even when things were going really good, like the people really following the Niners were kind of looking at all the personalities in the locker room, and there were so many of them. And it's like, who's really in charge of this locker room? And it was really obvious when Trent Williams got to the team that it was Trent Williams and Deebo. I mean, they're the ones leading people out onto the field. And it wasn't just about the hype machine and the boom box. It was literally they kind of were running the culture on the team. And in the NFL, you kind of have two winning cultures. You've got the everyone's bought in and we're going to fight for everything and bite your kneecaps off, the Dan Campbells and the Mike Tomlins. Or you got I'm the biggest, baddest bully on the block and you can come get some. And the Niners were able to, put their money where their mouth was on that for a long time. But now the roster's aging and you can see there's a lack of accountability. I mean, Deebo's literally telling everyone, oh, I'm not having a bad year. I haven't lost a stop. I'm just not getting the ball enough. It was everyone else's fault. There's no personal accountability at all. And then he goes out the next night on national television and he drops the only touchdown of the game that would have won them the game. And that's a really big problem for this team. Shanahan has the Cabo click. Did Lions fan know about the Cabo click and the Niners? Do other teams know about this?
The Cabo click?
The Cabo click.
No, I got to hear.
Every year in the offseason, they go down to Cabo in Mexico. Shanahan goes and he brings his favorite players on the team. Just his favorite to go.
Right.
And so my point is the coach is a little bit of part of the problem. I want Shanahan there and I want him there for a long time. There's not a lot of better coaches than him, but that anybody could tell you, a casual sports fan could tell you, hey man, that doesn't sound like a really good idea. And Debo and Trent, they're part of that Cabo clique. So yeah, there's going to be some guys that show up for this game, but I don't think the Niners are going to really show up. The season's over. Everyone's hurt. The Lions really have something to play for, and they have a far better culture than the Niners, and that's why I think it's going to be a much bigger spread than 7 points when it's all said and done.
John Long, COO of the Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce, biggest Niner fan I know, keeping it real, bringing us the real insight, which is awesome. John, thanks so much, brother. Great to see you.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas.
All right, back at you. John Long with us on a Friday Locked On Lions. We'll be with you following the game Monday.